High School Musicals. No, not that kind of high school musicals, but the actual musicals performed by actual high school departments across this actual high school country. The more educational theater I do, the more I realize there are only about 50 or so shows that high school departments actually perform out of the thousands of pieces of musical theater that are written. NPR and the Educational Theater Association have compiled a rough list of the most performed high school musicals in the United States. It is a pretty solid list, but we both know there are other shows out there. So, if I may, here are some alternatives to the most popular high school musicals.
You're watching Musical Theater Mash.
A quick note on methodology. This list is far from perfect, because every show is different, and so no show has an exact replacement. But I did try to stick close to the same casting requirements, similar subject material, and a close enough content rating. Also, all of the alternative shows needed to be available for school licensing right now, and could not be repeated anywhere else on the list. And of course, no judgment. A lot of shows on the original list are fabulous high school shows, and so if you want to do those shows, you should do those shows. Right? Great? Yes? Here we go. Instead of Thoroughly Modern Millie, consider performing The Drowsy Chaperone. Both shows are an homage to a kind of 1920s musicality. They both have strong female leads and big supporting casts and expandable choruses, and Sutton Foster played the lead in both original Broadway productions. Instead of The Sound of Music, take a look at Gypsy. Yes, I know one of them is about nuns and the other is about strippers, but stick with me. A leading female role, a gaggle of children, and an easily sung male lead role. Plus, that high schooler you want to cast as Mother Abbess is gonna make a fabulous Mazeppa. Considering Bye Bye Birdie, why not look at All Shook Up? Now, I'm not usually one for jukebox musicals, but this one's actually a lot of fun. And it's a bunch of Elvis songs, which is a great stand-in for the Elvis parody of Bye Bye Birdie. And it is loosely based on Twelfth Night, and anything you can do to trick kids into studying William Shakespeare is A-OK in my book. Wanna do The Music Man? Have you thought about Anyone Can Whistle? Have you heard about Anyone Can Whistle? It's a long-lost Sondheim flop that has seen some traction in recent years. It's also about a small American town with its own idiosyncrasies that is thrown into chaos when a con man arrives in town. Plus, Eulalie McKechnie Shin and Cora Hoover Hooper might as well be long-lost sisters. Got a senior in your program who kinda looks like Kevin Bacon and thinking of doing Footloose? Maybe give Pippen a try. They both have strong male leads who are trying to find their place in this world. They're both very heavy dance shows, although Pippen is decidedly more fussy than Footloose is, and they're both about making the most out of your life even when struggling against the society around you. Want to do Hairspray? Have you thought about Ragtime? Now, really, this is just replacing one civil rights revolution for another, and really, this is just replacing one musical with a black chorus and a white chorus with another musical with a black and a white chorus. And real talk, isn't it a damn shame that there aren't more comparable musicals out there? Anyway, Ragtime is great and covers most of the same bases that Hairspray does. Okay, stick with me on this one. Instead of doing The Wizard of Oz, have you considered doing Peter and the Starcatcher? And I know I'm going a little off-brand here because Peter and the Starcatcher isn't really a musical, it's more of a play with music, but they both inspire that same kind of childlike wonder. And they're both based on children's novels, and they both take a lot of their dramatic power from being, you know, a story that we all know, but this time with some really interesting and surprising twists. I'm making some assumptions here, but if you're considering doing Your Good Man Charlie Brown, maybe take a look at the musical 13. Of course, the assumptions I'm making is that your show involves kids in their teens or their preteens, but even just beyond that similarity, they're both shows with a young male adolescent lead about exploring the life of being an adolescent. adolescent, even if 13 is a little older than Charlie Brown and a little more edgy. This one is a no-brainer. So you want to do Guys and Dolls, maybe take a look at How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. You can hold these shows next to each other and draw parallel lines between their musical numbers and characters. I mean, just listen to Luck Be a Lady and I Believe in You back to back. Plus they've got big male ensembles, catchy tunes, and a certain flavor of sexism from a bygone era. So you want to do Anything Goes, because it's a golden age musical that a lot of people recognize. Why not do Hello Dolly, the golden age musical that a lot of people recognize? They both have huge female leads and a smattering of really solid secondary leads and toe-tapping numbers that leave you humming when you exit the theater for the night. Plus, Hello Dolly's plot is a little more coherent, plus you can capitalize on the popularity of the recent revival, although that might make getting licensing a little difficult maybe for a couple years. Want to do High School Musical? Take a listen to Is There Life After High School. Now, Is There Life After High School isn't the most accurate stand-in. It's a montage piece that draws on some of the nostalgia of 50s and 60s high school, and while it certainly doesn't have the same recognizability that High School Musical does, it is a fabulous show for high schoolers, and you really should check it out. Don't do Once Upon a Mattress, do Mamma Mia instead. Actually, probably do Once Upon a Mattress. But if you're looking for an alternative, here is one wedding story swapped with another. Certainly one of them has ABBA music in it, but I promise I won't judge you. Okay, I might judge you a little bit. It was hard to find an alternative for Beauty and the Beast that wasn't also already on this list, but maybe take a look at the musical Big. It is also based on a vaguely children's movie. It also involves a transformation. I think it lacks a leading female role. I don't know. But Big is a great show. Little Shop of Horrors has a fabulous alternative in the musical Be More Chill. Be More Chill is a Joe Iconis show that hasn't actually made it to Broadway that really is just a contemporary techno sci-fi young adult take on a lot of Little Shop of Horrors themes. The casting is almost a one-to-one crossover, and this show is hugely popular on the internet right now. Although, if you are considering doing it at a high school, please don't let the first couple lyrics of the first song put you off too much on a content level. I love Into the Woods, and you should totally do Into the Woods, but if you don't want to do Into the Woods, maybe take a look at Merrily We Roll Along. It's another Sondheim show with a big ensemble cast that also takes a look at some of the themes of maturing and growing up, only with Merrily, that happens backwards. So, first off, don't do Shrek the Musical, and second, do Chitty Chitty Bang Bang instead. Side note, I actually considered Chitty as a good replacement for Mary Poppins, but found some better fits as things panned out. With Shrek to Chitty, you're just replacing one classic children's movie with an actual classic children's movie. Plus the casts are equally as big, and the plots are equally as ridiculous, and I would say the songs in Chitty are better. Considering doing The Little Mermaid but can't find the Heelys to put everyone in, take a look at Once on This Island. It is actually just an adaptation of The Little Mermaid story, so it has a strong female lead and that kind of adventure story and a wonderful set of supporting leading roles. It is important to note that this show was originally written for an all-black cast, so if you have a student population that is mixed or predominantly white, tread lightly with this show. Considering doing Grease at your high school? I hope you're aware of some of the deeper repercussions of the story you're about to tell. Grease is a raunchier tale than most people give it credit for, but maybe consider doing Chicago as an alternative. Both shows are about sex and drugs and a lecherous era long past, and if that does not sound like the Grease you were intending to put on, then maybe you shouldn't be doing Grease anyway. Thinking of doing Legally Blonde? Well, stop, but also maybe consider doing Xanadu. Yes, I know, Xanadu. Yes, stop laughing. Well, maybe laugh a little bit. It is a funny show. But both shows take themselves about as seriously as each other, and both strike up a kind of like nostalgia factor about a film, although Xanadu's just from a different era. The 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee is a great show, but have you thought about doing Avenue Q? Yes, Avenue Q is inappropriate, but so is Spelling Bee, and the licensed versions of each of the shows also have censored, boulderized versions of their more inappropriate songs, which you also shouldn't use, but you know, that'll let you get past it. They've got big ensemble casts, they're pretty contemporary, and they don't require a lot of dancing. Although you will have to decide between puppets and not puppets. Unless you're gonna do Spelling Bee with puppets, which would be a weird choice. Do you know what would be a good alternative to Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella? Once Upon a Mattress. But that's already on this list. So instead of Cinderella, maybe take a look at Sister Act. They're both shows with strong female leads and a sense of transformation and about discovering who you are and hiding who you are. And while Sister Act doesn't have any glass slippers, it does have lots of sparkly garments. I'm proud of this one. Instead of doing Seussical, take a look at James and the Giant Peach. It is written by Tony Winners, Pasek and Paul, hashtag so hot right now, hashtag you will be found. It's got beautiful songs, the same kind of zany characters you'd get in Seussical, and they're both based on children's literature. Want to do Mary Poppins? Yeah, so does every other high school in your city. So maybe take a look at My Fair Lady. They're both Julie Andrews shows, they're both contemporaneous in their inception and in their setting. They have very similar characters throughout, and they really both are just classics. One is just a more contemporary Broadway adaptation than the other. In my hometown, 7 different schools performed the Addams Family musical last year. It's a great musical, it's a wonderful show for high schoolers, but maybe you don't want to compete so closely with your crosstown rivals. So, how about try Young Frankenstein on for size? The aesthetic is exactly the same, you can't beat Mel Brooks for comedy, and both shows have that kind of movie pop culture recognition. Young Frankenstein is a little more inappropriate than the Addams Family is, but I don't think that's anything that some creative direction can't solve. So those are some alternative musicals to the most performed high school musicals in the United States. I'm sure there will be more alternatives down in the comments. I'm sure you're letting me know what your alternatives are right now. That's great. You should take this video and show it to your high school theater teacher. Let them know that there are more options out there, and do your research. Pick diverse shows, pick appropriate shows, pick challenging shows, and then go support high school theater. Go see other high schools' productions. Or if you're a parent or a community member, see everything you can. That's our future. That's the future of this art form. Yeah? That's your assignment, America. Go do it. Take that, Bob Saget. Knock, knock, knock on wood.